Have you ever woken up and then suddenly thought back on what your childhood was like? Did you ever get a sudden wave of nostalgia and wish to be a kid again? Well, that's what a lot of people go through in their lives as they get older, even if they're still in their teenage years. Children have no worries in the world and are blissfully unaware of the troubles that adults endure. When you're a child, you don't get roped into peer pressure, but as you get older, that's when everything starts to change for the worst. People shouldn't give in to peer pressure in order for them to feel like they fit in, because if they do give in to peer pressure, then they can turn to bad habits in order to be like others. According to study.com, 90% of teenagers in school have experienced peer pressure. Peer pressure is a cycle. For example, this is apparent in nature through metamorphosis. Like humans, caterpillars go through a cycle as well. They go from being a caterpillar to a butterfly. Caterpillars need to make cocoons in order for them to turn into a butterfly, but some aren't able to make it to the stage due to them being weaker than others. Those caterpillars will continue to be weak and be unable to turn into a butterfly, causing them to be trapped. Others may find it easy to become a butterfly and end up being free. Peer pressure causes individuals to be unable to become free and experience a butterfly moment. One of the hardest things for me when I was a child was staying awake. When I started kindergarten, I passed out as soon as I got home every night for months because it was so different to what I was used to. I was absolutely exhausted from this change. All my worries were about if I was able to actually stay awake past 4 p.m. or not. Another thing that was hard for me was food. I hardly ate anything when I was small, but I thankfully do not have that problem anymore. As I got older, I made friends with some other kids, and the only peer pressure we went through was if we should be going outside for lunch or not. Peer pressure impacted us positively as children. Gradually, certain things started to change, and I started to want to fit in with other kids, and that's when everything started going downhill. I used to dress up in these pretty princess costumes all day, every day. I would wear them even if we were just going out to the grocery store. When I started school, I realized that I couldn't wear my princess outfits anymore, and I was devastated. So I moved on to the next best thing. Bright neon colors, which made me become a big sparkly highlighter. After years of doing this, I felt like I had to stop, so I started wearing jeans every day in order to appear more like everyone else. As I got older and went into high school, my appearance started to change drastically. I got my hair cut, I got my hair dyed, and I got the clothing that I wanted to wear. I wanted to stop being like everyone else and find my own voice again. I wanted to get cute things again because it's what made me happy. I finally felt a lot more confident myself. Everyone should be able to wear whatever clothing they want as long as it makes them happy, whether it's labeled as women's clothes or men's clothes. However, there was and still is one thing that I can't shake off: my weight. Weight is an awful thing. Everyone wants to lose it. It's like a sea that you just keep getting lost in. I got and still get comments from my family about me needing to lose weight, and I always have agreed with them. What did I do about those comments? I did what I felt was the right thing to do. I listened to them. I lost weight in a very unhealthy way by starving myself and throwing up my food if I felt like I ate too much. Now I'm at a point where, since I gained weight again, I want to do what I did before to make me skinnier, even though I know it isn't a good thing to do. Over 9% of the global population suffers from eating disorders, according to ANAD.com, and it's such an awful feeling to be unable to control ourselves from dieting in healthier ways. Another thing is getting a job. Everyone talks about how they want one as a kid so that they can make money, but when you grow up, that's really the only good thing about having a job, is the money, and you don't really want to rush into having one right away. Many of my friends had gotten a job before I did, and it isn't a huge deal to me because once you start working, you'll be doing that for the rest of your life. However, I was pressured into getting a job from my family. They always talked about how they had jobs when they were like 16 or younger. Meanwhile, I was 17 and still didn't have a job. It started feeling like I had to get a job because I was pressured into it, so I started applying to a few places close to me. Nobody had hired me so far until I got hired at the most luxurious place in the world, Old Navy. It was absolutely exhausting. I started with 9-hour-long workdays for 2 weeks straight because they wanted to train me, and after that my shifts gradually started to decrease. Now I only work once or twice a week for a few hours. It isn't in the food industry, and I also don't have to wear a uniform, so I'm pretty happy with how my only job has been turning out so far. Pressure to get a job is higher than ever. However, people in high school just aren't ready to get a job. Schools are piling on homework, which causes children to not have time to maintain a job or have a social life. In 2019, 35% of teens aged 16 to 19 had a part-time job, but in 1979, 60% of the age group had a job, according to CNBC.com. This shows that because of how intense school has become, children get too overwhelmed when it comes to balancing work with school. Another big thing people get peer pressured into is drugs and alcohol. If you're pressured by your friends to go to parties, then you're most likely going to go. And parties are peer pressure central. You go to this party with all of your friends, and then they all start drinking. And then you start drinking because you don't want to be seen as different from them. Then your friends start doing drugs, and you start doing drugs too because your friends are. You might even get addicted to alcohol or drugs if you keep going to more parties with your friends to fit in with them. According to alcohol.org, more than 60% of teens had admitted to underage drinking. Many of them said it was due to peer pressure. More parties with that kind of behavior could then lead to create an image of yourself that you never wanted, causing you to go into a downward spiral of low self-esteem. For me, it was my mom that pressured me into drinking because I'm a goody two-shoes, and I don't get into trouble or go out at all at night. She drank and got into trouble all the time when she was younger than me, so she wants me to have fun sometimes like she used to, and actually experience new things instead of staying at home all the time. Peer pressure is a cycle that doesn't go away. It doesn't stop even after you become an adult. Peer pressure is a positive thing in childhood, but when you hit your teenage years, it turns pretty much into a negative thing for the rest of your life. Peer pressure never goes away, and it's your own choice if you want to give in to it or not. Nobody can control what you become except for you. You can agree to be like all of your friends, but you're the one that makes that decision. In the end, you really need to do what will make you happy and feel better with yourself, whether it's giving in to what those around you want you to do, or wanting to be different from others and deciding what you want to do with your own life.